Hello and welcome to the Free Kick Podcast. My name is Todd, and here we are on to Game 3, I believe it is. Yeah, Game 3 of the quarterfinals. Both of these guys, it's been a little bit since the first game, and let's see how they do tonight. But I think they're both going to do very well, because joining me tonight is Scott Price, who last episode, if you remember when he was on, told us that he was an intern for the Philadelphia Union, caught everybody by surprise. This guy's filled with Union knowledge. But the person that he's also going against tonight, Ricky Zellefrow, was in the semifinals last year. This guy knows everything there is about the Philadelphia Union. So welcome, guys.
What's up, man?
Good to be back.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's been a little bit of a break for both of you guys, and you guys don't feel too confident, because you guys should be, because your category is going to deal with the 2020 MLS's back season. This is the last that I'm going to ask anybody questions for MLS's back, so that means the next game between Michael Van Sant and Rich Lurie. Your category is just going to be the 2020 season as a whole, so if you guys are listening to this, start preparing now. So I was telling these guys before we started recording, I really struggled with some questions I asked these guys for MLS's back, so hopefully I found some good questions. I think I did, but we will see if either one of these guys get tripped up. But before we get into 5 and 25, like I did last episode, I played little snippets of Jim Curtin's press conference. Well, today we're recording on Tuesday, March 30th. Jim Curtin had his press conference before the Union take on DC United in the last preseason friendly, which is on Wednesday at Subaru Park. So let's go ahead and listen to the first clip that I'm going to play of Jim Curtin giving an injury update for everybody that was out the last couple of weeks.
Kacper received an injection in his back. That's something that timeline-wise will, speed things up, but it does keep him out of training right now. So he's missed, about 8 to 10 days of training, which is difficult for a striker. But the shot was taken in his back to have him to be prepared for Saprissa. If everything goes smooth, he'll be able to train next week as we go into the final stages of preparation for the game. Cory Burke. It's not going as well. Cory has not played 1 minute yet of preseason, so the likelihood that he'll be able to now all of a sudden flip a switch and turn it on and be ready to play against Saprissa is less and less likely. Still not training with the group. Sergio Santos still recovers. It's, I guess I'd say, exactly where we expected it to be, but it's not going to be something where he's all of a sudden, training fully next week. He maybe is a guy we're shooting for and targeting that second leg of having available. So, I think I went through all of our strikers. You guys can piece it together. We're going to be thin there. But I've talked to the group. It's an opportunity for others to step up. It's a situation where, we'll be getting guys back healthy at different times. They won't be fully fit yet because they've missed so many training sessions and so many minutes. So the guys that we have are the ones that have to go down there and get a result. The last one to touch on, Jose did train fully today, but it was his first training session back. He'll get minutes tomorrow against DC and see how he responds there. So I think that covers the injuries, the significant injuries that we have. But again, there won't be any excuses. We'll go with the guys that we have. It's not about who's not with us. It's about who is with us and who gets on the flight to Florida and ultimately Costa Rica to again, survive and advance. That's all that matters now.
So, that was a ton of information that Jim Curtin gave for injury updates. And then later on in the press conference, he let everybody know that, hey, by the way, Jack De Vries, we were pairing him with Kacper as a striker. Well, Jack De Vries is out with a concussion. Who knows when he'll get cleared to go back to practice. But, it's not looking good for the first game ever for the Philadelphia Union in the Champions League to go down to Costa Rica with no strikers, I'm going to assume. Maybe Kacper can come on as a substitute, but even then, I'm not really sure that's going to happen. And like I said last episode, of course, this is so Union. The first ever appearance in the Champions League, and every single striker is hurt. And I know, Ricky, your favorite player, you got his jersey. We said last episode you won, Anthony Fontana. I guess he's going to be playing as a number 9. Are you opposed to that, Ricky? I know you said on Twitter that Yeah, maybe we should just go down to Costa Rica and park the bus. So
I was wondering if you brought that up because literally I think Mike just tweeted like it was like half an hour ago and they were talking about we're gonna have like no strikers and everything, and I've been thinking about this for the last few weeks because you've seen I think the general discourse among the Union fandom is that this team is not ready for this, and I'm personally at the point where we lost two incredible players, but we had backups for them, not necessarily at the same level with Fontana and Jack Elliott replacing McKenzie and Aronson from last year. But I don't think there's a huge drop off there. And then the other thing is with our strikers last year, and it's kind of been like this for a few years, where none of them are like 20 goals a season strikers. So inherently, we all knew coming into the season, we've got three guys. None of them will probably get more than, say, 15 goals. I think Kacper in his first real season had about 15 goals. And the commentary on this is I don't think the team at a starting level is any worse than it was last year. I think the bench is a little bit suspect because you've got 18-year-old kids as your backups in like five positions. But inherently, the big issue here is that you only have three strikers on the roster. And if Jack De Vries is expected to be that fourth guy, maybe he's a support striker. Generally, he's been working off of Kacper in the preseason games just because the other two haven't been there. That's an interesting option, and we all know the last Open Cup game we ever played, Anthony Fontana was a center forward in that game, and he scored a goal. He's not really a center forward, but the other thing here is he also just scores goals, so he's your best option if you don't have any other strikers, and we'll see how that goes. And my theory here is this is your first ever international game. This is your first ever trip anywhere that's, more hostile than like LA or stuff like that. So inherently, why would you do anything but go to Saprissa, one of the most ridiculous stadiums in the world? We all know it from watching US versus Costa Rica. Why wouldn't you just go in there and be like, I'm fine losing 1-0 like they have for most of preseason. The only game in preseason that they got knocked out was I think Orlando City beat them like 3-1, but inherently the team that we threw out there was not going to play defense either. Aurelian Collin was starting at center back. If we have Jack Elliott, Kai Wagner, Glesnes, and, insert right back here, as much as we all love Ray Gaddis, I'm perfectly fine with either other right back starting there. And then if Martinez is good to go, I'm perfectly confident that team can go to Saprissa and not get knocked out. And I saw some comments a few weeks ago that were like, "Oh, this team is going to lose like 4-0." The defense is there. The goal, Andre Blake is here. Like that's 2 goals, expected goals against minus right there. But I'm not too worried about going down there. It's if we come back and nobody's there to play striker and we've got to score 2 goals at home against a team that has a little bit of confidence because we have no goal scoring threat. But we'll see what happens, I think, is where I'm at right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also interesting. Jamiro Monteiro got brought up a lot by Jim Curtin in this press conference. And specifically, Jim kept talking about how he likes Jamiro as a number 10. The big moments, the big games when Jamiro Monteiro steps up and is at his best, and he thinks that Jamiro Monteiro is going to be at his best against Saprissa. So, yeah, I guess I really wouldn't be surprised to see Anthony Fontana with Jim saying that about Jamiro playing as a number 10. I guess I wouldn't be surprised seeing Anthony Fontana as the 9, Jamiro as the attacking midfielder. Bedoya Martinez put one of the homegrowns on the left side of the field, maybe Leon Flack whenever he gets announced, because it was reported over the weekend that him and Stuart Finley were both at training. So do with that what you want. I know Jim Curtin also did say that Stuart Finley had his first training session with the Union today, and then in the back, like you said, just insert with the right back, whether that's Harriol or Mbaizo, then I'd imagine you're going to go with Jack Elliott, and then Glesnes has been getting talked up a lot too by Jim Curtin, and then Kai Wagner and Andre Blake. And then, like you said, Ricky, a whole bunch of homegrowns unproven on the bench. But I don't know. Jim also was talking about, yeah, we have a lot of young guys that are going to have to step up, make the first start. So maybe the lineup I just gave you guys as a prediction, maybe that doesn't happen. But Scott, what are your thoughts? Just hearing that every single striker is still out. We might not see Sergio Santos until the second leg, but at least Jose Martinez is back, right?
I mean, I agree with Ricky. I think best case scenario coming out of Saprissa is either is a 0-0 draw or a 1-1 draw. I think if you get out of Costa Rica without having more than a goal differential to make up when you get back to Chester, I think that's a win. As long as, I mean, I could see Fontana playing more of like a false nine in the away game. And I think if you can get back to full strength for the second leg, I think that's your best case scenario, is get everybody healthy for that second leg and don't fall too far behind in the first leg. Saprissa is not going to have any fans, so it's not going to be like the raucous environment you would have expected, where you're already like 2 goals down walking into the building. But that'll be a tough matchup, the away leg. Hopefully Subaru Park is as full as it can be for the second leg, and we're in shape where we're not completely trying to have to win like 5-1 in the second leg to get it to advance.
Yeah, that would be terrible. I mean, honestly, like if we go down there and lose 2-1, we get the away goal, I'd be fine with that. 1-0 losing, that's fine. 1-1, like you guys said, as long as we're not going down there getting blown out, where it's near impossible for us to come back and score 3-4 goals to overturn this tide. And because, yeah, I mean, it's going to be awesome to have fans in the stadium, which is crazy. I guess maybe it's not so crazy to see that every single ticket got sold within 3 hours of them getting released to the season ticket members. Because, look, let's face it, it's first ever Champions League game. Everybody wants to be there for that. And then, it's the home opener. Everybody wants to see Jose Martinez and Higuain go at it against each other in person. You know, let's get part 2 in that. So, yeah, it sucks that the stadium can't be as full as all of us would like it, but at least some fans will be in there. And hopefully when Saprissa does come to Subaru Park in Chester, hopefully the fans can make it as uncomfortable as they can for these players from Costa Rica. But, you know, I guess that's just the key, right? It's like we're going to deal with what we have and hope that we don't get blown out and make the most of it. But speaking of making the most of it, let's see if Ricky can make the most of going first in 5 and 25. So if you guys are new to 5 and 25, it is where I ask the contestants 5 questions. They have 25 seconds to answer 5 questions. The clock starts after I read the first question. If a contestant doesn't know the answer, they can say skip, and we can go back if the time permits. Each question will be worth 2 points each. Like I said, Ricky, we're going to you first. And just a reminder for you guys, this is dealing with everything that happened for the Philadelphia Union, and MLS is back in 2020. So, Ricky, are you ready?
Sure.
Here we go. Question number 1 for you, Ricky. Who made their debut against New York City FC?
Cole Turner.
Who did the Union beat in the quarterfinals?
Kansas City.
How many shutouts did Blake have?
3.
Who was second in assists for the Union?
Jamiro Montero.
How many goals did the Union score throughout the tournament?
7.
Man, and you wasted no time with all that. I mean, you still have 7 seconds left on the timer, so yeah, you were just like, let's get it over with. So that last question I asked you was, how many goals did the Union score throughout the tournament? The answer to that was 9. It's like, yeah, let me just throw a number out there. So yeah, you were close, right? Who was second in assists for the Union? That would be Ali Bedoya. He had 2 throughout the whole tournament. A little bit surprised. We don't really see Ali pick up too many assists. How many shutouts did Andre Blake have in MLS's back? That would be 2, so 1 off. Who did the Union beat in the quarterfinals? That would be Sporting Kansas City by a score of 3-1. And who made their debut against New York City FC? Yeah, it was either Cole Turner or Jack De Vries, and it would be Jack De Vries. So you did get 1, so you went 1 for 5, 2 points right there. And yeah, for Michael and Rich, yeah, just be on the lookout for a question similar to that. But, Ricky, you got on the board, not bad. But, Scott, we're going to go to you. So, hopefully, you were answering some of those questions along with Ricky. Hopefully you did good, because now it's your turn. So, you ready, Scott?
I'm ready. I would have done much better than you, Ricky.
Here we go, Scott. Your first question is, who did the Union beat in the round of 16?
New England.
Who led the Union in minutes played?
Bedoya.
How many penalties did the Union miss?
2.
How many goals did Jamiro Montero score?
0.
Who scored twice in one game?
Santos.
And again, just like Ricky, you had about 8 seconds left on the clock. You guys are wasting no time with this. So that last question was, who scored twice in one game? And that would indeed be Sergio Santos. That was against Sporting Kansas City. How many goals did Jamiro score? The answer to that would be 1. That was also against Sporting Kansas City. How many penalties did the Union miss? The answer, I thought it was 2, but it was only 1. Sergio Santos missed his penalty against Portland in the semifinals. Question number 2, who led the Union in minutes played? You had 4 choices here, which were Andre Blake, Mark McKenzie, Kai Wagner, and Ray Gaddis. So Ali Bedoya was not one of the players that played every single minute. And the first question, who did the Union beat in the round of 16? And yeah, of course, right? The team that we played, 5-6 times throughout the whole season, that would be New England Revolution with a score of 1-0. Sergio Santos scoring a beautiful goal that game. Should have won goal of the tournament, in my opinion. But nonetheless, Scott, you went 4 for 10. You got 2 questions out of 5 right. So you have an advantage of 2 points over Ricky. So let's go ahead to the next category, which is true/false. So if you guys are new to the show, this category is self-explanatory. Everybody knows true/false. So I asked the contestants 5 true/false questions each, with each question being worth 1 point each. The contestants are on time, but, don't take forever, I'm hoping. So here we go, Scott. Question number 1 for you to see you add to your lead is true or false. Elsinio had 0 goals for the Union during MLS is back.
True.
That is false. He scored 1 goal, and that was the game. It looked like it was going to be the game-winning goal against Orlando City, but then 2 minutes later, Orlando City tied the game up, and the game ended 1-1, which then led to Orlando City winning the group. Question number 2, true or false? The Union had 2 players finish in the top 5 in goals for MLS is back.
True.
Again, that would also be false. Question number 3, true or false? Ali Bedoya picked up more fouls than El Brujo.
False.
That is true. Ali Bedoya had more fouls than El Brujo, which is crazy. Which is so crazy that happened. But on MLS's website, that's what I had it listed as. Question number 4, true or false? Yeah, I honestly would not have believed that unless I saw that. I felt like Jose was making a foul like every other game, multiple fouls during the games, but nope. Apparently, Ali Bedoya had more fouls than El Brujo. But question number 4 for you is true or false? The Union scored the first goal in 5 out of the 6 games.
I think it's true, so I'm gonna go false.
And you should have stayed with what you knew. And it was indeed true. And here we go, Scott. Here we go. Let's see if you can pick up a point right here. True or false? Jacob Glesnes only started 1 game in MLS is back.
True.
You're right. So you did pick up that point. It is
That's
true.
1.
Yeah, right. So you added 1 more point to your tally. But Ricky, Scott did you a lot of favors right there. Only went 1 for 5. So Scott, you have 5 points. And let's see, Ricky, if you can do any better than Scott. Question number 1, true or false? Anthony Fontana had 1 goal for the Union during MLS's back.
False.
You're right. That is false. And new goals because I just remember
play.
throughout the tournament, so many fans were saying, okay, Jim, let's see Anthony Fontana. Yeah, now we're not going to put in Anthony Fontana. We're actually not even going to make any substitutions at all. So, yeah, 0 goals for Anthony down in Orlando. Question number 2, true or false? The Union only had 1 player in the top 5 for assists.
False.
That would be true. They only had 1 player, and that player would be Brendan Aronson with 3 assists. Question number 3, true or false? The Union had 1 player in the top 5 for fouls suffered.
False.
Yeah, you're right. It is false. I tried to look on this, and not even in the top 10, the Union didn't have any players that were fouled the most out of all the teams down MLS's back. Question number 4, true or false? Out of the Union's 9 goals scored, 4 of them were scored in the first half, sorry.
So 4 of them were scored in
the first half.
is
Yep.
what you're saying. False.
True. So the Union, they scored most of the goals in the second half, and most of those goals were scored between the 60th and 65th minute. And the last question for you, Ricky, true or false? Jim Curtin gave 3 players the Union debuts in MLS's back.
That would be false based on your earlier statement.
Yeah. So you're paying attention. Yeah. So, again, Rich and Michael, hopefully you guys are listening. The only player that made their debut for the Union down in Orlando was Jack De Vries. No sexy season, no other homegrown player. So again, another hint. Hopefully you guys are listening to this because it's right in your face. But Ricky, not bad at all. You got 3 points. So you went 3 for 5. You tied the game up 5-5. And before we get into the name of the Union player, are you guys ready for the start of the season? I mean, look, we're 2 weeks away from starting the season against Columbus. We have Saprissa next week. You guys kind of gave your thoughts already for Saprissa. Just, are you guys ready for this thing? You guys, what are you guys expecting?
I'd love to say that I'm expecting another supporter shield. I'm not. I'm just looking at the roster. I'm trying not to be completely Negadelphian, but I don't see how this team has, unless some of the homegrowns turn out to be complete wonder kids, unless Paxton can pick up all the slack for his brother. It's just, I think, aiming for kind of where we were in 2019, still firmly in the playoff hunt, but not really contending for that for a title. I think I would be okay with that. I'd like to see a long run in the Champions League. I'd like to get to maybe the semis there, but I think that is especially going to come down to the draw in if we get past Saprissa. But I think as long as we can get hot, as long as Ernst makes some more moves to just even to just supplement the bench, I'm okay with. Like, would I love a superstar number 10? Absolutely, but we're not going to get a superstar number 10. So I don't want to say I'm expecting to just tread water this season, but I think good, not great is where I'm at.
Yeah, absolutely. But you said a superstar number 10, but what about a superstar number 9? Sergio Aguero, anybody? Not going to happen. Not going to happen. But Ricky, just what would be a good season for you?
I'm definitely. I'm looking here at this schedule, right? Because the one thing we do know is the first 3 weeks of the season, how everybody does, and that will determine who is theoretically in an Open Cup that may or may not happen. And we're going to Columbus, which is not historically a good thing. We're at home against Miami, which again, early season home game is not necessarily a good thing. And then NYCFC at home. I feel like if they end up with 6 points from that, they could end up in an Open Cup too. And so they go down, have an okay time at Saprissa, come back, beat Saprissa. Next round, you're either looking at Alajuelense or Atlanta. And I would take either of those in a heartbeat because Atlanta's, and I say this with understanding of where this could lead later on, Atlanta does not look like they're there yet. And they were not a good team last year. And having them early season before Heinze has a chance to make them good would be a good thing for the Union. And then they're in the semifinals, and the semifinals don't happen until August, which you're in mid-season form at that point. Maybe you're playing Club Leon or somebody at that point. I don't remember how the bracket works out after the quarterfinals, but they're pretty set up to have a good run at that if they can figure out this striker issue. So honestly, at this point, I'm more interested in, at that point, maybe they can be the first MLS team to win the CCL. And that's a strong statement. coming from people who don't even know how we're going to do in the first round. But that's a fairly easy as it can be in this competition. And you're just playing one, maybe two Mexican teams. And then if, say, you do get 6 out of 9 points in those first 3 games, or you go to Columbus and it's like a chilly 1-1 beginning of the season and you get 7 points, and then you're in the Open Cup, and then you have to beat 4 teams to win the Open Cup. You could be back in this place next year and maybe actually buy a striker, but that's beside the point. I think I'll echo the statement that I don't necessarily see them as a team that, with all of this going on, all these Wednesday games, especially late in the season, I don't think they can compete for the Supporters' Shield again, but they're definitely a playoff team. And if they can get in that home playoff window, like a 3 or a 4 at that point, or they can get an away game in the first round and somebody gets beat somewhere else so you can get a home game eventually. We know how we play in Philadelphia, unless it's, New England in the playoffs. So I could see them making a run at a cup competition like those 3 that we mentioned, because it's really easy to be like, let's throw out this Wednesday game and pretend like it doesn't exist. We're going to throw out the 18 homegrowns and pray for a 3-0 loss, and then we'll actually care about one of these competitions. So next year we can be in the same place we are right now, when the game won't happen to have, 30 games in a 5-week span at the end of the season. Yeah. So, middle of the pack is what I'm hoping for, with a cup competition win. Let's go with it.
Hey, there we go. I will take that. And I don't know, one of these weeks, I'll give my predictions of what I want to see the Union do. But till then, you guys heard from Scott and Ricky what they would expect a good Philadelphia Union season to look like. And yeah, Union Twitter is always a wild place, so I'm sure people will give crazy predictions on there as well. But let's go ahead and get to the final category, which is name the Union player. So in the final category, contestants will go head-to-head with each other and guessing the Union player I'm describing. I'll give 5 clues and contestants can buzz in whenever they think they know the player. Contestants will buzz in by saying their own name. If a contestant answers wrong, that will freeze them out until the next question. Each question will be worth 3 points each, except for clues 5, which is when I give you guys the player's first name. Then that will just give you 1 point each instead of 3. Remember, the players I'm describing all played for the Union in 2020, but what I describe might not have happened in 2020. So guys, player number 1, hint number 1, from Newark, Delaware. Hint number 2, has played for the U.S. U-20s. Hint number 3, first Union homegrown to score a brace as a sub.
Scott.
Go ahead, Scott.
Anthony Fontana.
It would indeed be Anthony Fontana. The other hints for that were hint number 4, jersey number 21. Hint number 5, first name Anthony. Anthony Fontana is that player. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you guys would get Newark, Delaware or not, but I was like, let me throw it in there. So, Scott, you were right. You got these 3 points, and you were up by 3 points. So, here we go. Player number 2. Hint number 1, made his debut against FC Cincinnati in 2019. Hint number 2, born in the Netherlands. Hint number 3, signed from FC Metz.
Ricky.
Go ahead, Ricky.
Jamiro Montero.
It is indeed Jamiro Montero. The other 2 hints for that were hint number 4, Union's most expensive signing, and hint number 1, Jamiro Montero is the player. So again, tied up, and here we go. Player number 3. Hint number 1, made 2 appearances in 2020. Hint number 2, started his MLS career with the Portland Timbers. Hint number 3, joined in the summer of 2019. Hint number 4, traded from Columbus to Philly. And here we go for 1 point. First name, Joseph.
Ricky.
Go ahead, Ricky.
Joe Bendick.
It is indeed Joe Bendick. So get that 1 point, and now you're up by 1. So let's go ahead and go to player number 4. Hint number 1, was born in Akron, Ohio. Hint number 2, his father played for the Colorado Rapids. Hint number 3, all 4 of his Union appearances since 2020 have been as a sub.
Ricky.
Go ahead, Ricky.
De Vries.
Yeah, it is indeed Jack De Vries. The other hints for that were jersey number 14 and hint number 5, first name Jack De Vries. I'm pretty sure I'm saying it wrong, as saying De Vries, but yeah, you're right.
It's whatever.
Yeah, you're right. So you got those 3 points. It doesn't matter. You're up by 4. So this last one, as it's meant so much throughout this competition, doesn't really matter. But we'll go for it anyway, because hint number 1 is one of Ernst's 6 signings in 2019. Hint number 2, scored his first Union goal in 2020. Hint number 3, played for Schalke's second team. Hint number 4, from Germany.
Scott.
Good, Scott.
Wooten?
No, and it is not Andrew Wooten.
Kacper Przybylko.
And it is
Oh, yeah, he
also
did play
not
for Schalke.
Casper.
Oh.
It is.
I always forget that he was
I thought it was a trick question because it came off that. Okay.
Again, you're right. I can see why it would have been in the first name Kai Wagner. Yeah. So.
Ooh.
If you had said he was from Würzburger Kickers, I would have had a better chance of getting that one.
Yeah, right. One of what was that, a 3rd or 4th division team? One of them.
Yeah,
I know
that was the easier answer to that question.
Absolutely. But it doesn't really matter because Ricky, you come away with a victory with a score of 12. Scott, you had 8, and you guys both kept this thing close. Even when we got into name the Union player, Scott, you got the first player. Ricky got the second, and then Mr. Joe Bendick himself gave you the victory. So I guess if there's anything good that he's done for the Union, he just gave you the victory to go to the semifinals, Ricky.
Well, we're back where we were last year. Let's see if it goes better.
Joe Bendick, so forgettable that he's even still on the roster.
Yeah, right. And for the longest time, it's like...
Yeah, he's going to start a game this season, and we're all going to be like, oh my God.
Well, at least, right? At least, Matt Freese doesn't have to go away for the Olympics, so...
There's your benefit to that.
Yeah, so...
That's the
positive.
good thing that came out of that.
Take that as a positive. Let's take that as a positive. We actually have 2 goalkeepers.
Absolutely. Let's take that because, look, as we all remember, it was either Joe Bendick or Matt Freese to win us the Supporter Shield. Jim says, your first appearance of the season, Matt Freese, go ahead and goal and kept a clean sheet against New England, and then, playoffs come and we lose 2-0.
I probably could have kept a clean sheet in that game, let's be honest.
Hey, how are you? Yeah. New England didn't attack all that much that game. But, Matt Freese, when the pressure was high, he stepped in. And it's unfortunate that he never got to make a start for the U20s Olympic qualifying games to get into the Olympics. But that's neither here or there. Like we said, let's take it as a positive that we won't be missing Matt Freese and hopefully no Joe Bendick. But before I let you guys go, let everybody know where they can find you on social media. And Scott, I'll go to you.
Coaster Guy 1 on Twitter. I will try to tweet more about the Union now that I have at least some following on Union Twitter. But I tweet about a lot of stuff. I try to tweet about everything, sports, Philly sports especially.
There you have it. And Ricky?
You can find me on Twitter at Ricky Rondo and on Instagram at Ricky_Rondo. And as is often brought up on here, a lot of pictures at Union games, and very soon Hershey Park opens back up. Definitely be pictures there. And I have 2 trips planned for this season to theme parks. So get excited for that because
I forgot you were a roller coaster. You were a theme park guy too.
Yeah, you both are, right?
The COVID shots have happened. We're going places.
There you go. Yeah, you guys are both in the roller coasters. I didn't really think about that until you just said that, Ricky. I'm sure people don't want to hear us talk about roller coasters, but
no, that's all the people want.
That's all the people want. So yeah, everybody just get to this part of the podcast, and we're talking for the next 30 minutes about roller coasters. But not to go off on a tangent, but is the new chocolate land or whatever done in Hershey Park yet?
So the thing is,
they're finishing the restaurant now.
Yeah. I have $20, so I can get a free they gave us all the season ticket holders. They were like, "Here's $20 because of all this stuff that happened," and I'm like, "That's like half of a meal at a theme park." But no,
get some crab fries, you'll be fine.
He said, "Yeah."
It opens up on Friday, so I'm not saying I'm going on Sunday and ditching my niece's Easter egg, whatever, but.
Yeah,
that's what's happening.
You're gonna go marathon Skyrush and Candemonium. It's fine. No big deal.
more of a Great Bear person myself.
Ooh.
Great.
Sky Rush.
I was going to say Sky Rush. So.
I've done like over 100. Sky Rush is my number 2.
There you have it. If you guys want all your roller coaster talk, just follow these guys on social media. They both love roller coasters. They both, I believe, post pictures of them at amusement parks. So if you guys have any questions, hit these guys up on social media. They'll tell you everything you need to know about roller coasters, how fast they go, how long the track is, the height you need to have to be on the ride. They can tell you what roller coaster has been made where, what roller coaster is better. You guys have the social media handles. And I should have done this last episode, but yeah, giving away a 2021 Philadelphia Union jersey. It ends on April 17th. Just really, really easy. 3 ways to enter, which are leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, search The Free Kick Todd Lewis. You got to share a screenshot, which people are leaving reviews, which I'm very, very thankful for, but I don't know who you guys are using these just handles other than your Twitter handles, and nobody's leaving the screenshot. So I'm like, thanks for the review, but I can't give you that entry unless you screenshot it. Number 2, tag a friend, that gets you 1 entry. And number 3, retweet this tweet, that's 1 entry, so you can get 4 entries. And yeah, like I said, up until April 17th, you guys can enter this competition. But if you guys aren't following the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, follow at Free Kick Pod. I just told you guys where to find the podcast, The Free Kick, Todd Lewis, and check out the website, thefreekick.com. And Ricky, like you said, back to where you were last year, and Scott gave it one hell of a run. And like I said to you before we started this, who would have thought that you were a 2018 Philadelphia Union intern, just hiding that from all of us? I got the knowledge, so next time, I'll remember just to give you everything other than 2018, and we'll test your knowledge that way.
Just give me 2011, I'll lose in the first round.
You lose the first round. Oh, man. But until then, my name is Todd, and this is the Free Kick Podcast.